Hello, my name is Cynthia. Thank you for clicking on my video. If you love beautiful needlework and you like to see examples, talk about beautiful needlework, and more importantly be encouraged to create your own projects, then you're in the right place. I wanted to share the projects that I worked on in June, some that I completed, and also share some upcoming plans and items that I purchased, and also to announce a giveaway at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and get started. My first piece I am over the moon excited about. I have been working on the Love Never Fails piece by Barbara Anna for a long time. I think I started it last year and have just worked on it here and there and really gotten serious about it in the last couple months. In particular, I have abandoned all my other plans and really buckled down, and I was able to finish it. So it's too big to fit in the frame. I have made a couple other little clips that I will insert here.
Hello. Hello, and my name is Elijah, and this is Mama's stitching art that she made.
But let me just show it real quickly here. I popped it in the frame loosely. It has glass, but I will need to go ahead and have it professionally laced and put on board. But I'm so happy with it. It turned out so awesome. And I used all the called for colors except for the skirt and jacket. I switched out from straight black to the 3378 from DMC, which is not quite black. I like that piece or that choice in particular because I feel like it really coordinates with my frame. I got this frame from Goodwill for $5. It's a little tight on the side. I don't have very much fabric there at all, but I was amazed at how well it fit. I took the original color of wood and overstained it with a glaze kind of gel called Java. I've actually used this all through my house. I have it on my kitchen cabinets and I have it on my master bed, so it's gonna go well in my house. And it really updated. The frame was pretty scratched up, but it's solid wood and it has really tight corners. I was just really happy. And when it gets the glass on it, it will probably go in my hallway outside of my master bedroom. I go by there many times a day, but I didn't want it to be in a sunny spot. So there is Barbara Anna's Love Never Fails. Yay, so excited. And of course I'm moving straight into the next Barbara Anna, but I'll share that later as I go into plans. The other monthly update I wanted to share, I explained last time that we were going to be in Alabama for the Southern Baptist Convention annual meeting, and it was a fantastic meeting. We had almost 9,000 Baptists that met in Birmingham, Alabama, and we were all encouraged just to shine a light throughout the world. We had a ceremony. I might include some pictures at the end where we sent out missionaries to all different parts of the world, some parts of the world where they were possibly going to face persecution for sharing their faith, but it was just an awesome experience. So grateful for that. I got my t-shirt there. Got to represent Oklahoma Baptist. That's my alma mater. So didn't see other friends from the past, but still felt just such a encouragement from being there. And on the way, we had intended to visit different beaches. Only ended up going to Destin, but I wanted to stitch some mementos. So I really like Heartstring Samplery. Beth Twist does a fantastic job. Very kind of antique, but also kind of current in the same way. And so I picked up these festive little fobs in the Seaside edition, and they were super quick. I ended up stitching 3. I crowded my fabric, or I would have had 4, but it was a small start anyway, so I just kind of scrapped that. But the first one I finished was this little fish And I got this felt from Hobby Lobby on clearance. I don't know if they have it anymore. It was really thick, but I got it for $1.20, I think, this whole piece, and it is wool, so it's pretty cool. But I just took a piece of that and sandwiched it with some ribbon, and I got it just a little bit crooked, but I like it, and done is better than perfect. So that's gonna be one of the pieces to remember our trip. And then I also did this little whale on a scrap of Ada, and I just wrapped it around this plastic spool that I had in my sewing box from my grandma. It only had just a tiny bit of thread on it, so I went ahead and stripped it off, and I just kind of tied it through the top and glued it, and then I put the ribbons through the bottom. Just different ones that I had found at Hobby Lobby on sale for $1 each, so just a couple dollars. And that, like I said, was just a scrap of Ada, but I thought that was super cute as a tassel. So there's that one. And then the final one, my favorite, has an A. Sorry, there's a little bit of glue. Has an A for my youngest daughter, who you'll meet at the end of the video for a minute. And she wanted pink, and the little top is purple. You can't see that very well, but it has blonde hair like her. I changed the color of the hair. I didn't use any of the called for colors on this one. But then I used some more of that felt, and I followed the instructions. She had a template for the strawberry, and then for the Beth did, and for the topper. And to make it hang right, because it was kind of tricky for me to get it going the right direction, I glued a mother of pearl button on top, so that way it will hang. But I thought that was so cute. And it says A for Anna. And the other one I forgot to point out says 19 in the bottom there, over 1, just to be able to remember the year that we traveled to Alabama. And I may put these in some kind of jar with some shells that I collected, but I haven't found the right jar yet. So really happy with those, and it was super fun. The third finish I had was something that I started kind of on a whim. I was following Lisa Abbey Needleworks. If you, I think that's how she says it. I'll try to link it below. If you haven't seen her channel, you need to check her out. She's super talented, makes lots of beautiful things. And she had a bunch of free patterns for her mania. So as I was perusing, I don't think she did this one particularly, but I found this one by Glory B on Pinterest. It says Compliments of Glory B. And it had an intriguing stitch, I thought. It's called an oblong double-tied cross. So it goes over 3 squares instead of over 2. And I wanted to try it, so I was able to do it in just a day or two. And I thought the effect was really neat. I didn't use bright Americana colors. I prefer kind of more of the faded, darker colors. So I used Black Crow by Gentle Arts for my blue. And then just a DMC that was really dark burgundy, and ecru. And I used it on a scrap of Ada that I kind of grunged up with some tan and blue. And I used a torn ruffle, like Priscilla and Tilsey, and it is just magneted onto the, I used duct tape. That was my classy finish on the back. But it's magneted there, so I think I'll put a Halloween piece on next. And that ribbon was from Joann's. It's hard to find ribbon that's not bright white and red and blue. So I found that back in like March or April, and I went ahead and grabbed it. Because sure enough, when you're looking for patriotic ribbon, it's all gone. So I used that and some ticking ribbon and just tied it together with this. I kind of do more of a funky bow instead of more straight bows, but that's how I like it. And this tin was from Hobby Lobby, just a couple dollars. So I might put something inside of it, but for this year I just have it sitting on my shelf, and I really like that. So that was finish number 3. Not counting the fobs isn't more than 1. And then I also had explained last time that I wanted to work on some primitive fabric pieces. And I had found this on Etsy. I'd kind of departed from the primitive style of things. For a long time I was more like kind of the cottage and shabby chic stuff, but I always did used to like the primitive stuff, and so I thought, let me just try it. It's only like $1.99 or $2 for the pattern. So I did the sunflower, and then my favorite was actually the pig. I wasn't sure if this was something I could handle or not, but it was something I think that turned out really cute. I actually made 3 of these little pigs, and they're just made out of muslin. And I don't want to give away too many details of the pattern because I didn't know how to finish this with the different dyes and stains and painting techniques that are in the pattern, and I wouldn't want to share that because that's probably proprietary. But they are super simple, and I'll link it at the bottom. I had these bells that were silver, and so I just spray painted them black and kind of daubed on some brown. But there's this one and this one, and they turned out pretty grungy, but I think they are so cute, and I had to have 3 because of, you know, 3 pigs. But I have them on the kitchen table in a big wooden tray, and I'll have that on my Instagram. It doesn't fit in the frame, it's so big, but I have the 3 of these guys, and they won't be hurt if little kids, you know, touch it or hold it. That's the other benefit to rustic primitive things. I wouldn't dare put my needlework on the table in the kitchen, you know, for the kids to be able to touch and handle, but these things are just asking for that. So got these little pigs, and then the sunflowers. I'm not quite 100% sold on them. I might do a little bit more painting to get them a little more bright. They're kind of dark. My husband said, "Oh, did you drag those through the mud?" I was like, "No, they're grungy. They're grunge sunflowers." And he said, "Oh, like Pearl Jam and Kurt Cobain." I was like, "No." He's a child of the 90s, so you can tell. They're just supposed to be that way. He didn't quite get it. So those are the sunflowers and the pigs. Peach Bottom Primitives on Etsy, and I'll link it down below. So lots of fun. I had a lot of crafty projects and a lot of success this month, so that was very gratifying. I also wanted to show the projects that I continue to work on that have not been completed. There's quite a few of those, as we all probably can relate. I did work on the salve for June 1st. That's with Diana at It's Kismet Stitches for the Magical Moth Salve. And I love this piece. It's a little bit tricky. At first glance I thought, oh, it looks really big, which it's not. And then I also thought, oh, it looks pretty easy, which it's not. I mean, it's not impossible. It just takes a lot of almost confetti as you work through the piece. Let me show you how far I got. It has some shading, so you kind of have to make sure you have that right, and then it has just a lot of swirls of color and a lot of different stitches that only have 5 of this, 5 of that, 5 of this, 5 of that. So I love the colors, like I said, and it's going to be for my grandma, whose initials were HH, and her favorite color was pink. She had an entirely pink bedroom, and so I subbed out a color that almost looked like a yellowy cream for this dinky dye silk. Oh, it doesn't really show up. It's called Strawberry Ice, and it is a very soft pink. And I think her name is Trish from Threads and Twine to thank for that, because as I ordered the HL Moth from her, the second one, remember I lost the first one from Kitten Stitcher, the second pattern, she threw in a free dinky dye silk. And I don't know if she intended it to be used on the pattern that I purchased from her, but it was such a nice surprise that it worked. Instead of the white, it's almost a pinky variegated. But like I said, my grandma's favorite color was pink, and I'm going to do this finish for her. I have some ideas. So hopefully I will get as much work done on this month as I can, because I have another sal that I will be co-hosting in the middle of July. So I'm going to try to do as much work on that as I can and see how far I can get. I'm also continuing to work on my Hawkrun Hollow Village and loving every stitch. It is a beast. It's a big, I think I call it my Grand Canyon piece, but I have some still shots I'll try to put at the end of my progress. I'm just working my way up that house. Becky Wilder from Socks for Mom was posting her work on this morning, and she said she was trying to take a hint from me and put a prayer list next to her as she worked on this. So I was very blessed to pray for several of you throughout the month of June. I worked on the Hawkrun Hollow piece as I was doing that and made some good progress. I had pulled my attention away for some of my other projects, but I did continue to pray even if I wasn't stitching on this. And I was able to pray for Carol and Kim and Chris and Emily and Jerry and Darlene, and most recently Connie. She shared just a little while ago that she had been diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. So if you would add Connie to your prayer list, I think she would appreciate that very much. She said as much prayer as possible. And like I said, I appreciated the sharing of those prayer needs. It made me feel closer to y'all in a really cool way. We had some struggles this month in our church, and it was a blessing to me to know that I wasn't alone. I had a couple other pastors' wives share some really deep hurts, and so just the encouragement of we're all in this together and life is kind of hard was a reminder to me, and an encouragement. So I thank you for that. And I would ask again, if you have had something change or come up, or if you didn't pipe in last month and share, I encourage you, go ahead and just leave a prayer need. And I don't mean to, I thought about what I said last month. I don't mean to set myself up as some kind of spiritual, like, prayer warrior or something. I'm just like y'all, I don't pray every day like I should, but as I encourage y'all to pray and as I ask for your prayer requests, that helps me to pray. So I did have one sweet friend ask how she could pray for me, which I thought about. I said it's hard for y'all to ask for prayer for yourselves, but I didn't ask for prayer for me. So let me go ahead and start doing that. I would really appreciate your prayers for our church. As a pastor's wife, there's a lot of pressures on my husband. We have a wonderful church with lots of sweet friends, but it's a hard job. And so I'd appreciate your prayers for my husband, Dr. Jim Brewer, and for me, and also for just daily struggles. I deal with anxiety and high blood pressure, both of which I am striving to healthy living choices, getting exercise and prayer. All of those things do help, but I would appreciate you praying for me in that. And I didn't mean to leave that off as some kind of one-up, like I'm in some way better, because I am not. But I am very encouraged, as I said, by the prayer response, and continue to do so. I will be checking the comments, and I will leave my email for private requests. That's it for my whips. Like I said, I really focused on that Barbara Anna piece. It took every bit of energy that I had left to finish. So, and also the other little finishes that I did were lots of fun. So that was June whips. I wanted to share a few things I picked up, some because they're really unique or maybe hard to find, and you might start looking for them if there's something you've never seen before. This one is not. It's not super new, but I loved the what's it say? Boo Bobby. That's kind of hard to say. I had that sheep with the Easter eggs behind it for spring, and so I've kind of skipped summer. I don't have time for that, but I thought I might have time to do the Halloween piece Of course, Priscilla has done these in both the patriotic and the Halloween, but I love those gentle art threads that are orange and mustard, and I just love those colors. So I'll probably be starting that maybe at the end of July if I have time. I have a sale coming up, so I may not, but very soon I do want to try to have it. It's not super big. And it has cut wool flowers, which I'll have to try to find some wool that color. Maybe at the Goodwill. And I also kind of got burned by some things going out of print. I grabbed the one I'm doing a sale on, I'll show you in a minute, but I missed out on Sally Spencer. So I know my friend on Instagram, Triple Stitcher, was doing a shout out, and I said, oh, I didn't know that either. So if you have already stitched Sally Spencer, because I can't find it anywhere, if you would be willing to pass that stash, comment down below. I would be interested in the Sally Spencer. But I got to thinking about some other ones that had been around a while that I didn't want to miss out on. Feast of Friendship is a beautiful piece done by, I saw it first by Carol of Saltbuck Stitcher, and I love that blue house. It has lots of different shades of blue, and plus the fruit and that border. I love all of it. It's going to take me a while to collect all the threads because I do want to do it in overdyes. They will be, I think, a better choice than DMC in my opinion. So that's Feast of Friendship. And I don't think it's going out of print or anything. I just didn't want to get burned by missing out on that because I liked it so much. Also, this Birds of a Feather, who designed the Sally Spencer piece, I've admired this one for a long time. The Bitter Flower Sampler. Lots of people have done this, and I didn't want to miss out on it. So I went ahead and grabbed that when Kitten Stitcher had her sale for, I think it was 18% off. Sorry, my cat's really going. So that, I probably won't start that anytime soon, but I just didn't want to miss on it if it went out of print. And then one that I think is out of print, and I've not been able to find it anywhere except for eBay. I love this pattern. It's called Fall's Gifts by Carriage House Samplings, and it has some people inside that pumpkin there, and then an acorn and leaves and a squirrel, and it's got a peacock in red. And I am going to do it on the black. I might do it on a more of like a charcoaly linen, because I don't know if I want to try black linen. I've done black 14 count Aida with no problem, but I'm not sure about a linen. So I probably will start this on my birthday. We'll see if I can get the threads together. And it's charted in silk or DMC, but I'm going to do my own probably Gentle Art Sampler thread conversion, because those pumpkins would be beautiful in overdyes. So that's called Fall's Gifts if you want to do an eBay search on it. I only paid $8 for it, so I was happy to find that and snatch it up. So that was my haul, and the last thing I wanted to talk about is plans, most importantly being our upcoming Birds of a Feather Blackbird Design sale. It's going to be BBD Bird Sal with Becky of Socks for Mom and Kim Goldman on Instagram, and I'll link both of them down below. You should be following them. They do beautiful, beautiful things. And I kind of dithered on using DMC or using a conversion, and I've had some trouble with my converting threads lately. I feel like they just haven't turned out the way I wanted. So I'm going to stick with DMC on this, even though I'm a little bit iffy on a few of the greens, and they look really bright. When you see the design on the back, which is the antique, it's pretty grungy, and I like that. So I'm a little worried about these colors, but I saw an example on the Facebook group, the fans of Blackbird Design, and she had rubbed, one of the members of the Facebook group had rubbed coffee grounds on her piece after she did it, and I loved it. So I thought also DMC would be less risky if I end up doing that. I don't want to have a red, Gentle Arts thread bleed all over the piece. So there's the threads. I did use a coffee dyed piece of fabric that I got pretty grungy already. And so I'm going to use that 32 count linen, and that was from Hobby Lobby and DMC. So if you have this piece and you're holding out, I encourage you to go ahead and start it with us and use the hashtag. I'll link everything on that down below. I'm working all of the plans that I have, including that Sal that starts July 13th, into the 24-hour of cross stitch July challenge. It's just fun to kind of participate along and kind of focus the plans that I'm doing. I had already shared several of them before. These are pieces from Mania. For M, I know I'm excited to work on Mrs. Bingley again, on the Miss Bingley Library. I was going to also hop on with Priscilla and Chelsea. I'm not going to do the Jolly July ornaments selections necessarily. I like seasonal stitching, but I also like things that I can leave out all year that are bigger projects, and sometimes I feel like all the little seasonal stitches can kind of detract from my plan of having a sampler wall, or my plan of having large pieces that I can leave to family members. So I kind of try to balance that and not do as many seasonal. But I did want to work on the Jolly July, maybe even several times for my Christmas rules. And I have quite a bit done, so I want to see if I can get this ready for Christmas this year. So I will pull that out as part of the 24-hour challenge, and also as a Jolly July participation. So that was another plan I had. And then my final plan that was just dangling out as a carrot for so long is my Barbara Anna piece that I finally get to start. I wanted to start at May 31st, but I'm going to start at July 2nd instead. And I'm starting it on 40 count for the first time. I did go ahead and cheat. I think I had shared this before. I did just a couple of leaves to see if I could stitch on this 40 count. I bought a petite needle. I think they're Mary Arden needles, and I have my OttLite and a magnifier. So I am excited to be able to do some bigger pieces on smaller fabric count, or on higher fabric count. I don't know how that works, so that I can afford the fabric because some of these giant pieces take a half a yard of linen, which can be up to $50, and that's outside of my budget. So this linen, like I said, on 1, 2, 3 stitch was $9, and I'm not really sure why, but it was quite a steal. So I'm going to be starting that hopefully later today. And I had a couple of things I wanted to show at the end. As I was saying, I had a question from a viewer named Diane, and she had asked about the quilt behind me in my last floss tube for May. It is a beautiful quilt from my husband's great-grandmother. I believe her name was Granny Dealey, he called her. She was quite elderly when he was a child. He remembers her in a nursing home, and she always had her snuff can beside her. So apparently she was quite a character. But she made a beautiful quilt with every bird of the states of the United States, so 50 birds that were embroidered, and they all go different directions, which is funny to me because if I had laid it out I probably would have had them going all the same, but they're just all different directions. And I have a close-up of her hand quilting too, just the tiny little stitches. Something that is definitely an heirloom and speaks to my desire to leave behind pieces that bless people in years to come. She's been gone a very long time, so that I will include at the end. And I had one more thing. I have a giveaway from last month. I had some extra threads that I wasn't going to be using, and so about 6 or 7 of you had asked to be considered for the giveaway, and I drew the name Debbie White. She said we were birds of a feather because we all stitched to remember a simpler time, and that it's God's gift to us as a way of relaxation, comfort, and peace. And I so agree with that. So I threw in a hanky from my grandma. I have so many of these, so don't feel bad. I don't want these to sit in a drawer. This is some hand crochet. Tiny little work, probably by my great grandmother. So pretty old, but it looks so pretty with those threads. So I will send those off in a little pink package to Debbie White, if you'll get me your address. And I don't have a giveaway this time. I didn't have enough time to put something together, but I hope to next time. And I also appreciate your response to my cross stitch organization video I posted about my stitching cart. I got lots of positive feedback and kind words about that, so thank you very much, and I'll link it in the corner if you haven't seen that yet. I got some requests for a next video to be about a stitching journal, so most likely that will be my next video, probably in the middle of July. And then I also have some Stitch With Me plans coming, and my cat's making an appearance back here with his tail, that are coming up as well. So please leave a comment down below if you have a prayer need, something going on that you would like me to add to my list as I stitch the Hawk Run Hollow piece. And I would appreciate your prayer for me as well, as I asked earlier. So thank you so much for watching and for your encouragement. You've been such a blessing to my life. And I'll close as I usually do. May the favor of the Lord be upon us and establish the work of our hands. Psalm 90:17.
This is a picture that I tried before today and last year, and it says, Jesus loves me, Jesus in the children teaching, like 18, 15, 16.